Hollywood has often tried to exploit some of its most vulnerable targets, with some big names regularly taking advantage of men, women, and sometimes even children looking to make it big in the industry. Diddy, Epstein, Clive Davis, and Ellen are some of the very few names who are now heavily rumored to have been responsible for the epidemic of victims in Hollywood. Unfortunately for them, Terrence Howard has now entered the game, and he's not holding back on exposing any of them.
I've never seen somebody recover from it. That was all the people that went to the puffy parties. That was all the people that did all those things thinking that there was never going to be a consequence for what they were doing. Get punked out and pimped out by some greater desire. You shouldn't have a greater desire than being a man.
So, what exactly has Terrence Howard said? And where does this leave Ellen? We're going to discuss all of that and more in this video. For years, people have wondered why so many celebrities stayed silent whenever stories about Ellen DeGeneres started making headlines. Terrence believes it has a lot to do with the hidden culture behind the entertainment industry. He argued that people are often shaped by the environments they grow up in, passing destructive habits from one generation to the next. Because of that, he said he tries to look at people with compassion instead of only anger. Howard even grouped together controversial figures like Ellen, Diddy, and Jeffrey Epstein while making the broader point that human behavior is often learned rather than created out of nowhere.
Shining back is just another wave of the universe looking at it. Diddy. You know, even Epstein, all of them. What one human being does, all human beings are doing. Because we're just really, what happens in the sea over here, we don't say this wave just crashed.
Interesting thing to say, if one human being does, so meaning someone taught Epstein, someone taught Diddy. When I had Suge Knight on, Suge Knight said, who did he say, Rob, that taught Diddy? He gave a name. Quincy? No, was it Quincy? Clive Davis. Yeah, he said Clive Davis.
Clive Davis.
Yeah, he talked about that, what Clive did early on. And
the same applies to Ellen. She didn't become the way she did in a vacuum. She seemed to be nice, but wasn't really. So why did almost nobody in Hollywood speak out about Ellen DeGeneres for so many years? It wasn't because people didn't notice. It was because for a long time, Ellen had built one of the strongest reputations in entertainment. She wasn't just another talk show host. She was America's nicest celebrity. She gave away cars, surprised families with life-changing gifts, donated to charities, danced with audiences every afternoon, and even received the Presidential Medal of Freedom.
In a career spanning 3 decades, Ellen DeGeneres has lifted our spirits and brought joy to our lives as a stand-up comic, actor, and television star. In every role, she reminds us to be kind to one another and to treat people as each of us wants to be treated. At a pivotal moment, her courage and candor helped change the hearts and minds of millions of Americans, accelerating our nation's constant drive toward equality and acceptance for all. Again and again, Ellen DeGeneres has shown us that a single individual can make the world a more fun, more open, more loving place, so long as we just keep swimming.
To millions of viewers, Ellen seemed impossible to dislike. But then everything changed. Former employees began describing a workplace that looked nothing like the cheerful show people watched at home. Stories about bullying, intimidation, and a toxic work environment spread across the internet. Suddenly the woman known for Be Kind was facing accusations that painted a very different picture.
How was she mean to you? Like, give an example of like a day. Like, was it an energy thing? Was she just short with you? I mean, what was exactly
It was like
happening?
if you didn't pitch in her wheelhouse, then she looked at you like you had just fucking stabbed her puppy. And then there was this process of pushing people out of the circle. And you know, you want to be in the circle because there's a lot of fear going on.
Yeah.
And you're in or out. So there's a lot of like, it didn't really bother me that much because I'd written on a lot of shows before and I kind of knew what it was like to have tough bosses.
Yeah.
You know, I wrote for Bill Maher.
Sure.
And so like, I was just like, tough enough, but then there was these first-time writers they used to cry. There was a lot of crying in the hallways.
Wow.
Yeah.
Just feels like it's not a good energy for a workplace or a show. Like, I feel like you're getting less out of people by treating them like that.
I
what do you
think so. Yeah, for sure. I think in the long run. I think in the short run you might get more, but in the long run people get exhausted.
Yeah.
You break them. They can't. And then you hit sweeps, which is like you're working 12, 14-hour days because it's like the ratings months, and then nobody can give anything, and you just hit walls.
And that's when people started asking the obvious question. How does someone spend decades building the image of the nicest person on television only to lose it almost overnight? To understand that, you have to go all the way back to the beginning. Almost overnight, Ellen went from one of television's biggest stars to struggling to find work. By 2002, Ellen's future looked uncertain. Then came the role that changed everything. Pixar cast her as the voice of Dory in Finding Nemo. Originally, the character wasn't even written for a woman, but writer Andrew Stanton reportedly believed Ellen's naturally playful, fast-changing style of conversation made her perfect for the forgetful blue tangfish. The decision paid off. Finding Nemo became one of the biggest animated films ever made, earning nearly $1 billion worldwide and introducing Ellen to an entirely new generation of fans. Suddenly, the family-friendly image was back. She followed it with a successful HBO comedy special before launching The Ellen DeGeneres Show in 2003. Her first guest was Jennifer Aniston, fresh off the end of Friends, and audiences immediately embraced the show's lighthearted style. Unlike many celebrity interviews, Ellen's show focused on games, dancing, surprises, giveaways, and feel-good moments. It became the place people watched when they wanted a break from drama. The formula worked. The show averaged millions of viewers every day, won dozens of Emmy Awards in its first few seasons, and transformed Ellen into one of the most powerful and beloved personalities in television. By the mid-2000s, Ellen wasn't just winning ratings. She was dominating television. But behind that image, the first cracks were already beginning to show. Several writers who had worked on Ellen's original sitcom claimed she could be harsh behind the scenes. According to their accounts, if she didn't like a joke, she would reportedly stare at the writers and ask why they kept writing terrible jokes. The claims never gained much attention. Not long afterwards, there was the Grayson Chance incident that almost nobody knows even happened.
Because she was so inspired by Grayson Chance, she started a record label that she named 1111, and Grayson Chance was the first person signed to her. From the outside looking in, this looked like a match made in heaven. This boy had been scouted from YouTube and caught the attention of Ellen DeGeneres, and she started a record label just for him and was going to propel his career. But in reality, Grayson Chance would come out years later and share that in reality, his time working with Ellen was nothing less than traumatic. Grayson has described Ellen as manipulative and opportunistic. Grayson has also shared that he believed that Ellen wanted him to be her Justin Bieber. Ellen discovered Grayson on YouTube, similar how to Justin Bieber had been discovered. Grayson had the kind of Justin Bieber haircut when he was discovered. Both young male vocalists. Justin Bieber was scouted very young, just like Grayson. Ellen thought she found her cash cow when it came to Grayson Chance. She thought she was going to be the one responsible for finding and propelling the next Justin Bieber in the music industry. Grayson has said that Ellen was extremely controlling of every aspect of his career while he was working with her. Ellen did not have the experience, the knowledge, or the know-how on how to propel a child into the music industry on the same level as someone like Justin Bieber. After the release of Grayson's second album and the album underperformed, Grayson has reported that Ellen completely ghosted him. She would not answer the phone, she wouldn't reach out to him, she did not want to work with him at all. She just ghosted him. Grayson would later return to The Ellen Show in 2019, which he describes as a very awkward and staged encounter. Around the time when Grayson had decided to speak up and come forward about his experience working with Ellen, other people also began to come forward and share their experience.
Another incident featured comedian Hassan Minhaj when he politely corrected Ellen on the pronunciation of his last name. She continued insisting her version was correct, creating an uncomfortable exchange that spread online. Then there was Taylor Swift.
One particularly awkward instance, Ellen was playing a game with Taylor in which Taylor was supposed to identify all of the men whom she had dated or had relations with. During the game, Taylor Swift was visibly uncomfortable, on the verge of tears, asking Ellen to stop. And while I'm not the biggest Taylor Swift fan, I think it's very easy to offer one another decent human respect. And if she was in a situation that she was clearly uncomfortable, Ellen had the power to change that, and she chose not to. And Taylor Swift is most certainly not the only person who fell victim of Ellen doing this. This was kind of her MO. She wants to make her guests feel uncomfortable. She wants to kind of harbor an energy that makes her guests feel like they're being put on the spot. Celebrity or not, media trained or not, there's just certain things you can't prepare for, and there are certain things that happen on that show that just genuinely did not need to happen.
Years later, Taylor admitted those interviews often left her feeling anxious. And then came 2020. A single tweet from comedian Kevin T. Porter would trigger a chain reaction that no one, not even Ellen, could stop. He wrote, "Right now, we all need a little kindness. You know, like Ellen always talks about. She's also notoriously one of the meanest people alive. Reply with the craziest story you've heard about Ellen being mean and I'll donate money to the LA Food Bank." Within hours, thousands of replies flooded in. Some stories sounded unbelievable. Others came from people claiming they had worked with Ellen or crossed paths with her over the years. The tweet changed the conversation. Now, hundreds of people were sharing similar stories at the same time. Soon afterward, former employees began speaking publicly about what they described as a toxic workplace. Over and over, former staff members described the same feeling, fear. There was a lot that happened in between. But this was effectively the first nail in the coffin for Ellen, who would eventually see her show cancelled and her popularity fade with time until another unexpected controversy pulled her name back into the headlines when Sean Diddy Combs was arrested on some truly horrifying charges in September 2024. Internet users began resurfacing old celebrity photos and social media posts connected to him. One of them was a lighthearted birthday message Ellen posted years earlier referring to Diddy with a playful nickname. Because Ellen had interviewed Diddy multiple times and attended some of his well-known white parties, the old post quickly spread online that led to widespread speculation across social media. Many began to speculate that part of the reason Ellen is so feared in Hollywood is because of her connections to Diddy. You see, they're good friends, much better than you think.
For example, P. Diddy has interacted with children on the Ellen show. There's just a conversation to be had about the ethics and the actual safety of doing this. I don't even want my child in the same city as this man, okay? P. Diddy would go onto Ellen's show. The typical topics of conversation surrounded partying, drinking, women.
You do every night till 6 in the morning. You don't go to clubs every night.
No, I make love a lot.
Your new
yes,
fragrance.
Yes.
Well, why is it called 3 a.m.?
Because we all have a story about 3 a.m. It's in the vicinity of, the time you do bad
When does
things.
your party start, let's say?
Like 9:30.
Really? That early?
Yeah.
I could make that. But I could think of you of starting a party like midnight. Like what time will it go till?
That's a different type of party. It'll go from like 9:30 to like maybe 3 o'clock, 2, 3 o'clock. And then, we have the top 2 floors of the hotel.
Mm-hmm. And then it will carry on there.
I have another video that I made of weird interactions of P. Diddy and Ellen whenever Diddy went on to the Ellen show that you guys can watch if you want to. But in general, this friendship has been widely problematic, and after all the allegations came out against Diddy, Ellen was silent. She did not say anything even after that video came out. Silence.
Ellen, were you surprised by the allegations about P. Diddy? Did that surprise you about P. Diddy? He's been on your show many times.
And when you have openly shared that that is a close friend of yours, and you are silent in the wake of his horrendous behavior, in that situation...
In fact, Ellen was such good friends with Diddy that she's on record on national television admitting to knowing how wild his parties got and even being invited to them. In case anyone needs a refresher, here's Diddy's ex-bodyguard talking about what happened at these parties.
But I gotta ask you about this party, right, that Diddy threw for Meek Mill. You heard about how the owner, she came out saying that she found used condoms, lubricant, razor blades, powder, blood on the bed sheets. You heard about this?
No, what happened is that Diddy had rented a mansion out for Meek Mill's birthday party, and he had rented it for like $25,000. I remember we rented one of Cher's mansion out, you know what I'm saying? And that's the day he had fired his cook, but that's a whole nother story. You know what I'm saying? It was me, Wolf, Mace, Ock. Was Ock staying there? No, just me, Wolf, Mace, Puff, and there was one other person staying in the mansion. But anyway, long story short is that they came recently. This happened a long time ago, but they recently just made a statement that they found loads of cocaine. I wonder what they did with the cocaine, because they didn't turn it over to the police. They said they found loads of cocaine, razor blades. They said that the sheets were bloody, nasty. They found a whole lot of used condoms. And it was a Diddy party, giving in Meek Mill's honor for his birthday. I was like, yo, wow. They said it was disgusting the way that they left the place. So I know they got hit with another bill on top of that $25,000 and the different deposits they had to put down for cleanup and all this other stuff. It was crazy.
Diddy is also well known for silencing his enemies and in some cases his closest friends. Take Kim Porter for example. She was rumored to have been writing a book at the time of her death, a book that was seemingly going to expose all of Diddy's crimes and the abuse she suffered. Unfortunately for Kim and for the world, we would never see it come to light after she passed away under extremely suspicious circumstances. Many people close to Diddy at the time believed that there was foul play involved in the death. Many felt Diddy himself had a part to play in her death, but none were brave enough to speak up about it except Gene Deal. Now,
I believe that Al knows that Puff has some powerful people, or has some powerful people around him, and some people doing some things for him that could danger his life. His life could be in danger. I don't think nobody would be paying for some security if they didn't think their life was in danger. So I could see Al doing that. I understand why Al is doing that. And I just wish them all the luck. You got to realize, man, Kim's death wasn't even investigated, bro. Her death wasn't even investigated. And it should have been a proper investigation so all the family members can feel like that there was no foul play in her death. How is it that you know how we are as a people? I don't believe that 10% of your viewers that's watching this don't keep their phone when they go to sleep in arm reach. How is it that there was no electronic products or gadgets around Kim's bed? Her laptop missing, her cell phone's missing. Everything is missing that she could get in touch with her little girls if they not at home, or her friends or family. All that's missing. How is it that, and this is her say, that the detectives did not even view the body in the bed where she died at? That the coroner had already removed her, pronounced her dead, and told the detectives that it was no foul play. And if that is true, as I've heard it, and we read certain things on the internet about it, that case needs to be reopened. We know that Kim, and it's in the this is in the documentation. Shout out to Paperwork at the Paperwork part. I gotta shout him out, man, because he looked in the paperwork and it said Kim received a massage for about an hour when she's supposed to have full-blown pneumonia. Who gives somebody a massage when they got pneumonia? And do we know whether she used that baby oil or not for that massage?
Gene would later go on to reveal that Diddy's baby oil was usually laced with drugs, making Kim's massage all the more suspicious. But Diddy's rumors are not the point. It's the MMO. It's the way he did things. Kim Porter's sudden death set the precedent. And if rumor is to be believed, Diddy's close friend Ellen used the same playbook on two people who were going to expose her crimes. DJ Twitch and Ellen's ex-girlfriend and Hetchy.
There's two things that I want to touch on because I know that you guys will eat me up if I don't. And those two things are the passing of Twitch and the passing of Ellen's ex-girlfriend, Ann. So very briefly, in a nutshell, Twitch was the DJ who replaced DJ Tony on the Ellen Show, and he was also a So You Think You Can Dance alumni. In December of 2022, Twitch was found unalive in a hotel room not far from his residence. It was revealed that Twitch took his own life due to a self-inflicted wound to the head. When Twitch's mother found out that her son had passed away, she was immediately suspicious and believed that someone had harmed him. Twitch's wife, family, and friends all shared that they were not aware that he was struggling emotionally, that he had been depressed, that he was having thoughts of taking his own life. No one had any clue. The family was not experiencing any kind of financial hardships. They had children together. They were in a loving marriage, according to his wife. An autopsy and toxicology revealed that he did not have anything in his system, nor was any kind of foul play thought to be in question. I believe the theory that Ellen had something to do with his passing perhaps comes from the toxic work environment that Ellen cultivated that might have weighed on Twitch harder than others, and being in a hostile work environment will cause anyone to question their worth. I personally do not believe that Ellen had a thing to do with the passing of Twitch. I do have a theory about Twitch's passing, and it more coincides with potentially emotional distress caused by the 7M dance cult that he and his wife were involved in, but that's kind of a whole other story for a whole other day. A few months after Twitch passed away, Ellen's ex-girlfriend, who she dated from 1997 to 2000, Ann Heche, sadly passed away. Ann and Ellen, while they were together, seemed to have a bit of a toxic relationship, and when the romance eventually ended, Ann was so distraught that she had to spend time in the hospital trying to get her mental health back into a state of equilibrium. On August 5th of 2022, Ann Heche was driving her Mini Cooper in a neighborhood in Los Angeles when she crashed her car into a home at a high rate of speed just before 11 a.m. After Ann crashed her vehicle into this home, the car went into flames, and shockingly, Ann was not pulled from the car from firefighters until about 11:50. Firefighters were on scene for about 20 minutes before they said they were able to get to Ann in the vehicle due to all of the smoke. When Ann was pulled from the wreckage, she was shockingly still alive. A stomach-turning video that went viral after Ann passed away was of her sitting up out of a stretcher that medics had put her in as they were wheeling her into an ambulance. And at that time, I cannot even imagine the pain that she would have been in. Ann was taken to the hospital where she fell into a coma and was pronounced to have no brain activity on August 11th of 2022.
This naturally begs the question, what was Ellen doing that was so horrific that she had to silence the closest people in her life? We may not know the full story yet, but this is exactly what Terrence Howard was talking about. Speaking out against Ellen in Hollywood can cost you your life. It's no wonder so many stay silent for years. What do you think, guys? Do you think Terrence is onto something? Let us know in the comments below.